Insane Bitcoin news today. Blackrock is coming after your coins. Also, the prices of Bitcoin in Nigeria going absolutely insane. Another country looking to make Bitcoin legalized for payments inside the country. And the charts telling us something interesting. So make sure to stick around till the end of the video to get the latest on the price action for Bitcoin. So let's start off with talking about this Blackrock news. As Bitcoin Magazine shared, $10 trillion BlackRock, $2.5 trillion Goldman Sachs, $1.8 trillion Bank of New York Mellon, hoping to expand Bitcoin and cryptocurrency offerings. Now look, BlackRock, they launched their Bitcoin fund last year. This allows their private investors to gobble up truckloads of Bitcoin. We also saw them adding Bitcoin into their global macro fund. And I imagine we're going to see a lot more offerings from these major financial institutions. Obviously, BlackRock's the biggest one, but you can't discount, Goldman Sachs and their $2.5 trillion, Bank of New York Mellon and their $1.8 trillion, of course, Fidelity all the time offering new products for Bitcoin, and they've got like over 4 or 5 trillion assets under management. Even a fraction of this money buys every single Bitcoin currently sitting on exchanges. It's a big damn deal. Right? These guys are going to be expanding their crypto offerings. So what does that mean in terms of BlackRock? That potentially means more Bitcoin funds, maybe more exposure to Bitcoin miners and such of the sort. But I also think we could see someone like BlackRock bringing out Ethereum funds in the very, very near future. We usually see this happen where first we get a Bitcoin fund, a Bitcoin ETF, whatever it might be, shortly followed by an Ethereum fund, because the smart money knows it's not just Bitcoin anymore, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum. Remember, this big money, they only need to move a fraction, a tiny fraction of their wealth into crypto to buy up all the coins. It's a crazy, crazy mathematical equation when you understand it. Now let's talk about Panama. Panama is bringing out a bill to legalize Bitcoin as a form of payment in the country. Currently going to the Supreme Court, which is the final step before being enacted into law. Big deal. Brazil just did this. Brazil just signed it into law, which is massive beyond belief. And obviously Brazil is a much bigger economy than Panama, top 10 world economy. Absolutely big deal what happened in Brazil. But you have to understand, we are seeing more and more countries adopting this legal status for Bitcoin. Now, this is not legal tender, just to be clear, right? They're legalizing it for payments. So saying, yeah, you can accept payments in Bitcoin, but we're not going to give it the same status as legal tender in the country, which it's a different legal step, right? It means that it has to be accepted as a form of settlement if people offer it, whereas their current currency is. But Bitcoin will now have a great status within Panama if this passes. We're going to see so many more countries making these kinds of steps. And that, of course, is a first step towards a potential legal tender move like El Salvador did, right? So first, as payments, make that legal, maybe legal tender later on. Either way, a great damn move. This story is absolutely nuts. I wanted to share it with you. Bitcoin premium hits 60% in Nigeria as the country limits ATM cash withdrawals. This is an insane story. So Bitcoin rocked up to $38,000 in Nigeria. Now the central bank has started enforcing a new policy that you're only allowed to take $44 freaking a day out of an ATM. Imagine that. Imagine you're only allowed to take $44 in cash out. That's insanity. That is insanity. For your average business person trying to do almost anything, you're screwed. What if you're trying to send money overseas, or of course there's big capital controls in Nigeria still? It's absolute insanity. You understand why Bitcoin's trading at a premium, because people need Bitcoin. For a lot of people in a lot of places, Bitcoin's a novelty. It's cool. I'll buy some. Nice little investment. Maybe I'll get rich. We forget that Bitcoin is a necessity for some people in some places, right? This is why Bitcoin's skyrocketing in Nigeria, because people actually need Bitcoin, right? Nigeria is one of the preeminent countries in the world for Bitcoin adoption because they know. So shout out to everybody in Nigeria who is hardcore into Bitcoin, and, screw your central bank and their BS policies. Now, before getting into the charts, just a reminder, if you don't have an account yet over on Bybit, you need to get yourself one. It is the best place for trading crypto. Super popular futures markets, zero fees for their spot markets, and up to $30,000 in bonuses by using the first link down below in the description. And you can join over 10 million traders trading on Bybit. So go check that out if you are a trader. Now let's take a quick look at the charts here. A few interesting things I wanted to point out for you. We've seen Bitcoin putting in yesterday a bearish engulfing candle here on the charts. We had this big fat red candle, bigger than the green candle on the day before it. That also moved us finally back to an RSI situation where we're not in the overbought territory. So Bitcoin has been overbought since the 11th of January, and that just ended yesterday. So we are now officially not overbought for Bitcoin. Obviously, that can change very, very quickly. That is how Bitcoin works. Things can move pretty gosh darn fast in this market. Although I am still waiting for a retest back down here of around $20,000 or even all the way down to around 19,500 or so to retest the 200-day simple moving average. Be curious to see if we get that. I think a lot of it, of course, price action wise for Bitcoin, the wider crypto markets, stock markets, all that stuff is going to depend on what the Federal Reserve says later this week. If they come out and basically give us all what we're expecting, which is a 25 basis point rate hike, markets will probably like that. Things will go on and be fine. If we get a 25 basis point rate hike plus some really tough talk, markets may not like it as much. If we get a 50 basis point rate hike, I don't think markets are going to like that at all. I think we'll see some chaos forming up potentially. Now, a real quick look at the weekly charts here as well. So we can see, let's get the RSI off here. We can see, most importantly, Bitcoin did not get up to cross over the 200-week simple moving average. Blue line on the chart here. That basically says Bitcoin is still a value purchase under this level. We are still under that level currently. Plus, put this up real quick, we can see we are still above our trend line here. So if we did have that move back to $20,000, for example, that would actually retest this trend line, which would be a technically bullish move, retesting after the breakout before continuing higher. Of course, we'll see what transpires over the next few days, but I am encouraged to see that the price is still trading above this downtrend line, although we didn't quite manage to capture the 200-week MA. Okay, that's it. Subscribe now. See you next time.